Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're the book club for movies. This week we're doing the miniseries Neverland, made in 2011, directed by Nick Willing, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have James Stevens, Jonathan Charney, and a man whose favorite hobbies include leather lace and water sports, Black Glove, Ryan Preston. And since this was James's pick this week, I'm going to let him give a short synopsis of what this movie's about.
So pretty much what this movie is about, it's basically explains everything about the world of Peter Pan, where Peter comes from, where Hook comes from, where all the other characters come from, and that's really what this thing is about. I mean, IMDb has this raised on the streets of turn of the century London, blah blah blah, orphan Peter Pan and his little lost boys, type of thing.
And is this in canon with the rest of the story?
I actually say this is. There's no story written like this that was ever introduced by the original excuse me guys, the original writer of the Peter Pan stories, which is James Matthew Barrie. Hold on one second, I have it written down right here. Barrie. James Matthew Barrie was the original writer of Peter Pan.
What was the year? Did you look at
that he actually wrote Peter Pan?
Yeah.
Peter Pan's first introduction was in 1902 in a little story like The White Swan or something like that. And or I can't remember the actual title. It's a lot
older than I thought it was.
And then in 1904 he made another appearance in a play. And in 1911 is when the story that we know that Disney did, that's when that story actually came out. So that
was the Peter and Wendy story. That came out in 1911.
The Peter and Wendy story came out in 1911. The Disney movie was made in 1953, and this one comes out in 2011, which I think is actually pretty cool that it came out 100 years after the actual book was written.
That's a good point.
So I think that was actually really cool that they did that then.
And the only thing that comes to mind is, damn, is Disney milking it?
I know. Well, this isn't put out by Disney at all.
Because Disney do best, man. Come on.
Well, yeah. No,
But Disney releases them again and again and again every 10 years or so. But this is written and directed by a guy by the name Nick Willing. Now, I don't know if he wrote this whole thing by himself or what, but this is kind of just a beginning story of Neverland, of the Indians, of the pirates, of Peter Pan, of Captain Hook.
In the biz, they call that a prequel.
A prequel. Yes.
Oh, wow. According to this, he was also involved in, besides Neverland, he was involved in the Alice, Tin Man. So he has at least kind of a history of doing children's story tales.
Yeah, he does.
A more realistic adult version.
Yeah.
So he's been involved in the reimagining of those stories?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So like the Tin Man miniseries he had a part in.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wrote that.
What were the other two that you named in there?
Alice, and there was another one too. What was the other one? There's Alice in Wonderland, and there was another...
Alice, Tin Man. He's done a bunch of other stuff, but those are the two those are like literally the top of the list on IMDb.
Well, he the ones that he's written are Alice. He actually wrote 2 episodes of Alice. Close Your Eyes.
3 episodes of the Tin Man in 2007.
Yeah,
okay.
And then he's directed all the other things. He's directed 3 episodes of Tin Man, 2 episodes of Alice. Sea of Souls. Yeah, he's done a bunch of things. He's also directed the Alice in Wonderland, the 1999 version.
He
didn't do Malice in Wonderland. Dang it.
I have to admit that without really getting into too much of the story, I do like the idea of reimagining stories to a more adult-oriented. I kind of dig that.
We're slightly adult, slightly contemporary. I mean, really, there's a handful of reasons to reimagine something or give it a different spin. Just based on what humanity has kind of learned about whatever. Yeah. And since its first incarnation.
Yeah. The thing. My first little note about this, I'll jump into this, is this mini series that he created here. What I tell people it is when I'm describing it is I say it's got a lot of O's. Like you're watching it and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Because it explains a lot of the questions that you come up with if you've seen the Peter Pan, the Disney version. And if you're a real big fan of Hook, which I am, there's a lot of things in Hook too that you're like,
Talk about the 1991 movie with
Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams.
Yeah,
I got to say, this is probably one of the strong points of this movie in particular. It plays to everything else.
yeah.
It's not.
Well,
it plays in canon. It sticks to the story. It gives hints to everything else, which I really like.
Yeah.
What it seemed like it does to me is it kind of takes, a line of where everything was written, as far as Wendy, the Lost Boys, here's where everything was in the story, and then just started drawing roots to everything.
Exactly.
And it just went down, where did this start? Where did this start? Where did this start? And
Yeah, I mean, what I've got on that point is that as far as the plot, I really do like the fact that they took it a little bit farther of the route and brought in the Philosopher's Stone. Because if any of you guys are kind of like into that type of thing, you've probably heard of that, the Philosopher's Stone, and they have a different take on it, which is actually pretty cool. That you can't make it, you have to capture it, and that's what was going on, and that's how there's a portal out to Neverland, and that's where Peter Pan comes in.
Neverland's a planet instead of that weird little, sunset place.
The genius part I thought about that is how they explained it, that it's at the center and the end of the galaxy at the same exact time, therefore time does not exist.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, that's cool.
Trying to whip a little science in you.
Yeah, because that added enough science to go, wow. I liked that. No mysticism. I thought that was cool because it added a little bit of modern twist to it, which I thought the story added.
And I haven't read the original Peter Pan stories that, like I said in the beginning of this thing, is that James Matthew Barrie, who about 100 years ago actually wrote the Peter Pan stories. I haven't read those. I don't know if you guys have.
No.
We don't read books.
Don't forget where the books are from movies.
I don't know if he's got all those little kind of tidbits in there that this guy Willing took license over or what, but if he didn't do that, I got to give him another point on this one in saying that based on that fact of taking an unoriginal story and building a creative and original plot around that, he's got a lot of credit there.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. I mean, he took a couple of things from a there was definitely some Oliver Twist going on in the beginning of that with the pickpocket and the turn of the century, kids stealing in London and all that good stuff. They have the their little mentor or whatever played Rhys Ifans. I'm kind of a big fan of.
Yeah, I like him too.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely like seeing the sort of the roots of the characters. Well, what I liked seeing was the evolution of the characters. They started out as these people, but then you see, the same reason that I liked the Casino Royale movie, where you see why James Bond is a womanizing piece of shit, who drinks a lot. And in this one you see why, Peter Pan is kind of a selfish brat, when he ends up meeting Wendy, because he's got all these past experiences. That happened. And the same thing with Hook.
Because wouldn't you say, though, that the only person involved in the story was Peter? Because Captain Hook, what was his name?
Rhys, his last name.
By Rhys, his character was always the same, but was seen through child eyes. I think most of the story through Peter as a good guy. When spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, it shows out who he really is.
Yeah.
I think the only person who involved was him, because the other characters, I don't think they did. I think the Lost Boys were the same. I think that the Indians were the same.
I disagree with you on the Lost Boys.
Well, which ones then? Well, what do you think that would change?
I say, actually, most of them changed because a lot of them were wanting to get back home. And if you notice the part when they got the new clothes and they're like, I don't want to wear those. The Indian clothes, and one of them's like, well, they're more durable. And he was actually kind of saying, guys, we're going to be here for a while. And then they finally get in the mode of, yeah, this is where our new home is going to be. So they kind of had a little bit of character development there. But the story wasn't really centered around them, but their characters did change some.
Would you call that would you call that evolution of a character, or more adding a more realistic touch to the character?
I would say evolution of a group.
Okay.
Because that was all of them as a group.
Yeah, and I think they were written as a group. I mean, it wasn't. Nobody really in the Lost Boys was singled out individually, except for maybe Peter's, good buddy
Fox.
Right. Yeah. So, but other than that, I mean, it was like the group mentality was written for them, as a whole.
Yeah.
Nobody was really,
So are those?
so it seemed kind of thin as far as like the guy just seemed like he just wrote like, okay, well, we know the Lost Boys have to end up like this, so this is how it happens.
Well, my last 2 points have to come down to the fact that this is not a high-budget movie/miniseries.
No,
And
definitely.
at times, you don't notice that. But then along the line, as you're watching it, all of a sudden something pops up that you're just like, oh, yeah.
It is not as bad as the sci-fi version of Dune.
No. Not even close.
So
But-
that has some pluses in my book.
So, I mean, there's obviously a budget limit here that actually you will notice if you are watching this, if you haven't watched it already.
Still reminds you that you're kind of watching a mini series.
Yeah, a mini sci-fi
series.
series.
Of a mini series, a couple of the CGI. Obviously, sci-fi. The Sci-Fi Channel, I think, was shoving a lot of the money towards this. So
Yeah.
they're not the biggest network in the world. I mean, so you cut them a little bit of slack on.
Yeah,
on those
I
guys.
do, and I give them major credit for the fact that there was big chunks of this miniseries that I actually forgot that this was
Sure.
a low budget
Yeah.
movie.
I think Sifi did a good job.
Yeah, so they did do a good job. Most of the actors, to be honest, didn't bother me very much, except the one who plays Tiger Lily. Now,
Oh,
your
thank
lazy
God.
eye and your lazy monotone performance
Oh, getting down to the lazy eye. That's cruel.
progressively bugged
I was
me
gonna bring up the Jay Leno chin.
more and more. I was letting the Jay Leno chin slide.
Oh, sorry, ladies.
But,
If you have a lazy eye and a big chin, apparently,
but no, it was actually her monotone.
Yeah, she
No,
was.
It was really the acting that bugged me. As much as I'm kind of making
Yeah.
fun of her, she, cute enough chick, but just
Yeah, she wasn't
what the hell
bad
was
looking.
going on with that character?
There was
and the
there was no
acting?
emotion to it.
Yeah,
She was
but-
all kind of like, Peter, what are you doing here, Peter? It was
Yeah,
very.
how dare you do this thing to us?
I'm happy.
And I understand that you're trying to play an ESL person, but I
Wow.
mean, if you got
ESL?
80 years English second language,
Oh,
if you got 80 some odd years to learn a language, you got no excuse.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
I mean, even the baby should be talking by now.
okay, so I guess it's my turn, right?
All right, I pass it off to John. I had to do that. Sorry, guys, I just had to point that out because I mean that's something that really did bug me.
I think this one's going to be hard to follow. I mean, you're talking about some girl's big chin and lazy eye. At least I'm surprised you didn't mention her third limb. I mean, come on.
Wait, what?
Third leg. 3 legs.
I know, but did you see one?
No, but I'm surprised
Okay.
you didn't mention something about it.
I was gonna say I missed that. How did I miss that one?
Okay, one of the things I like that James says, oh damn, I really like how they told the backstory. Something that, at least from my knowledge, not reading the books, they told on film.
Yeah,
It's something that I don't see Disney ever doing, and I think it took sci-fi to do it. And it fit sci-fi's theme of telling stories and reimagining things, as Ryan says. The
yeah.
stories.
I actually do like that. That was well said.
And I'm a giant fan of the semi-realistic way they're trying to bring stories today.
Yeah,
not the comic booky, not the story, in a galaxy far, far away. Yes, I'm not a Star Wars fan. Fuck you. So
You.
that's the thing. I really like that. I like the more realistic color palette. Besides the bad blue screens, I like the way they do that. I like the more realistic Nolan style storytelling.
Yeah.
And the one thing I thought was cool is the reason why Hook and Peter hate each other.
Yeah, that was really what.
And why it's
I gotta give you
Peter's
that.
life mission to make Captain Hook miserable.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
that was good.
That seemed to be kind of the way that they were like, we have to make this story because we have to show that particular evolution of a relationship.
Exactly. I liked that. I was not personally, this is on my notes, but I wasn't a big fan of how the whole watch scene.
Yeah, that wasn't very cool
I was
either.
hoping to get the bite.
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
the Captain Hook movie with Dustin Hoffman, it mentions, was it the gator actually bit his hand
off, yeah.
That's what I wanted to see. Instead
Of course,
of
I think that's what everybody wanted to say.
instead of a weird shaped dagger. And by the way, that was a long ass dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's
I think it was a short sword, actually.
Yeah,
like
here's...
for the
It was a Rambo knife.
Pretty much.
Here's
So here's the one they didn't answer. If this is true canon, how in the Disney movie does it get Wendy and her brothers to fly?
That's what I was kind of curious about, too. Not only that, but how did they fly through space?
Yeah.
Now, the thing I'm thinking...
Obviously, the fairy dust, can shield radiation. Duh.
And the vacuum of space?
Obviously.
Oh, obviously, yeah. That's no little thing right there to talk about.
That was my main question: is how exactly? Because in the cartoon he shakes Tinkerbell. That doesn't really happen in the story, So I want to.
I know, because I was really hoping he'd shake the shit out of Keira Knightley's crappy voice.
And the creepy character of that thing.
By the way, yeah, she was painted head to toe in silver makeup. And I really want to know what the woman looks like in real life, because whatever that silver tint was not flattering.
Well, I think it was just CG. I think it was a computer-generated image.
I thought it was a person just shrunk on blue screen.
They might have used one of those suits with all the motion sensing balls on it, to just motion capture whatever she was doing.
True.
I don't know, but all she did was just two things. It's like, really?
So she was related to Chewbacca with that noise?
Yeah.
So Ryan, what? So that's really the end of my point. So Ryan, what are yours?
Okay. I loved Reese Ifans, if I'm saying that right. I hope I am. I've seen him in enough damn movies. I liked the kid, Charlie Rowe, was it?
Yeah, Rowe. I got to pull it up.
A damn good Peter.
Yeah, it's Charlie Rowe.
Whatever. Let's see. I loved watching Bob Hoskins.
Thank
come
you.
Back with me.
I didn't bring that up. I knew you would, so I didn't mention that.
That was that brought me back to '91.
Yeah,
that was
so
fun.
cool seeing him. I mean, I think that's what really set me up on this thing, because nobody else could be Smee.
I think that solely added credit to the film.
Yes.
That to me was the only thing that added real credibility to this.
It put a little bit of legitimacy in it.
Exactly.
If Bob Hoskins likes this, then we're okay. But I liked a couple of the things, where they came from, the take on the different galaxy kind of thing was interesting. I liked the look of the crazy alligators and the look of some of the villages. Some of the CGI was kind of weak.
Yeah,
I take a couple of things with a grain of salt because of the miniseries fact.
You have to.
But, as far as a miniseries goes, they had some good elements. I mean, they had good ingredients for the miniseries. So if they fell short on a couple things, big deal as far as I'm concerned. I was pretty entertained watching it. I thought it was pretty cool. Obviously for a story that I've known since I was, really, really young. So, yeah.
Is that it?
That's it for me. I mean, if we're gonna.
So I liked this. To me, there are a few mistakes story-wise that I can't forgive because I don't think it lines up with everything else. Mm-hmm. And I realize I'm talking about Peter Pan, so I think I'm being a little inattentive on this. I think the CG are a little. The CG was a little bad, but this is a sci-fi miniseries, and if you've ever watched Dune, you'll understand that they don't have a great history with some blue screen.
Oh yeah.
But overall, I give this a strong 3 out of 5. I liked it. I liked the fact that it was canon. It tied a lot up. I liked it. I think it's a strong 3 out of 5 for me personally.
Yeah. Yep.
What about you, James or Ryan?
I'm going absolutely the same as you, 3 out of 5. For pretty much the same reasons. Couple of plot holes that I'm not really interested in forgiving. But again, it's Peter Pan. For fuck's sake, if we're gonna start, really getting all over that, what are we doing?
They should have dragged Sandy Duncan back in, but come on. She was cute.
I'm going to join you guys on the 3 out of 5. I can't say it's a strong 3 out of 5. I'd actually say mine is more verge of 2. But there are some things that, you got to forgive. Like you said, it is a sci-fi movie, a sci-fi flick. They don't have a great reputation. And for me, even suggesting a sci-fi thing out of here that I don't expect to be a 1 is saying something. So, yeah, like you guys said, there are some plot holes. There are some things that you kind of got to take with a grain of salt. You got to forgive. I mean, Lazy Eye had to let go on a few things.
Oof.
But,
Oof.
I can't legitimately give it a 2 because, as our scale says, I mean, this thing actually set out to do everything that it had, and I mean, as far as most of the backstory, they covered as much of it as they can without dragging this thing out to be like a 10-series miniseries. They only did 2 episodes of it, hour and a half. It's just a 3-hour watch for you people out there. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you do. Because it actually is worth watching.
So instead of watching Waterworld for the 20th time or The Postman for the 2nd, you should watch this movie.
Yeah, because that'll actually cover one of those.
Exactly.
If you want to spend 3 hours, I suggest you watch this instead of one of those.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially if you've already seen The Postman.
Oh.
There's no sense in dragging through that one again.
Or at least do one thing. Watch the first 5 minutes of it and watch the last 5 minutes of it. You've got the whole thing covered. You haven't missed anything between the 2 5s.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Between the 2 5s.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. So John. So I gave it a 3. Ryan and James both gave it a 3. So it's another one of the elusive ties we've had in this one. And now so I'm bringing movie news, and one of the reasons, the first one is one that I'm really sad at, is because it's Bob Hoskins retiring from acting. I don't know if you heard of this.
Wow, it's pretty
Yeah, I
apropos
did.
to this conversation. That's kind of
Yeah, it does.
He's retiring because of Parkinson's disease.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I didn't know it was for Parkinson's.
Because-
I thought he was just done.
Now, this is the part that really makes me sad, because I like a lot of the roles, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Love that.
One of my favorite. I was really hoping that they would.
We might still do it on the show for you, those of you out there. It's warning.
I really wanted them to make a second one, and
Yeah.
now I'm heartbroken, because if they do, I'll have to question worth seeing it, because I love Bob Hoskins in that movie. That was the movie to
There's
me.
no way I would ever watch a sequel without him.
That was the movie to me that said, I like that guy.
Yeah, I'd say that one, and definitely, as we mentioned earlier, Hook.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
His role as Shmi is just, it's...
And I mean, just
Spot
the
on.
insane amount of character work that guy's done throughout the
Oh,
years.
yeah,
You know,
it's
I mean,
insane.
I can't think of, probably any of them off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up, but I mean, I'm sure it's 80 movies long, you know?
And the next one is coming from the damn Hollywood's running out of ideas department is, and I quote, the TV show Alf is coming to the big screen.
Actually, Ryan, it's 113.
Wow.
Wow, holy shit.
So,
Really? They're doing...
yep. And,
Why are they going to do that to Alf?
and according to this,
I mean, come on!
Funny show. I mean, look
I
at the
loved
stuff that they're
Alf.
writing for TV. I mean, they might be making this pretty, like a Ted kind of movie or something like that.
one word, the Smurfs.
Oh shit, that would break my heart. But the Smurfs obviously was made for kids. I mean, Alf, if you guys remember, was a pretty out there kind of
That would
funny
be preteen to
show.
teen, I think.
So here's
That's the genre they were looking for, and I was a little kid watching that.
So here's the thing. It says that it's going to be a combination of live action and CG, similar to the Smurfs.
Really?
This is not something I have faith in. I liked it as a kid. I still kind of do. But if they're going to do this, the next thing they're going to bring back is Little Wonder. I mean,
Well, I mean, they already ruined Underdog.
huh?
They already ruined Underdog.
Yeah.
I liked Underdog as a kid, man.
Oh, of course. I mean, I don't even really want.
So I mean, CG and live action. I mean, that's to me like Smurfs and Underdog and Garfield
for Alf.
and wait, Alvin and the Chipmunks. I
Yeah.
mean, they got to ruin something else now too.
Okay, and here's the one that Sylvester Stallone is gathering all the old hack actors. The Expendables 3 signs on Nicolas Cage.
What the hell? He's done like 1 or 2 action movies.
Nicolas
Well,
Cage?
I mean, if you count the
Really?
Ghost Rider,
Gone in 60 Seconds?
that's what I was thinking. Gone in 60 Seconds and like
the flying movie, the Con Air,
Yeah.
Face Off.
Face Off sucked so bad.
Ghost Rider, and the one that he just recently did, which is something.
Yeah, though.
I was thinking
Season of the Witch.
Yeah. And here's one that I'm actually excited about if they do it the right way. The rights to Daredevil go back to Marvel/Disney. Plus, so that's cool. I think if they do it right, I think this would be a period piece, like when it originally was the idea, not a modern reincarnation of it. I think that would be decent.
without any kind of crappy Elektra spinoff.
But I mean,
Definitely.
it's coming off of Ben Affleck.
Well, see, that's the thing is, I mean, ever since the Hulk, when people came out with the original, I think it was just called Hulk or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
The studio basically 6 months later was like, listen, that never happened. We're sorry. Check this out.
Exactly.
So maybe that's what they're going to be doing with this. Maybe they're like, listen, we actually have a good story. We're going to try to make people forget about the last piece of shit.
I'm sorry, I cannot forget about that because I was I'm not a big Daredevil fan. I always enjoyed his character, and
I think here's my idea.
I mean that was like watching Karate Kid, but he's blind.
It's like watching Karate Kid 4. Here's my idea, and I think they could do it really well. I think have the new Spider-Man tied in with Daredevil.
That'd be
I
kinda
think
cool.
do a mixture of that. Like
Keep being rings out of this, guys.
yeah, like definitely. Like I think if they did like in the cartoon, there was the '90s cartoon where there's a couple of episodes where they had Daredevil with Peter Parker and Spider-Man. That I think would work. And here's the one from the really surprised department. The leaked Ninja Turtle script sounds terrible. Like
Is that the headline?
Yeah. Here's the thing. That the instead of being the Shredder, it's Colonel Schroeder,
Oh, for Christ's sake.
and he's the leader of a secret army force called the Foot.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
And the turtles are no longer mutants, but rather space aliens from Dimension X.
Oh, this is the one. Okay, that's the
If you keep up with movie news like this, I'm gonna have to have a throw up bucket next to me.
I'm sorry.
I think my stomach is about to explode.
Aliens that just happen to resemble Earth turtles.
Yeah, here. The reason why I did that is because as a kid of the '90s and '80s, I loved the Ninja Turtles. I love that even the original cartoon doesn't take itself too serious.
He actually likes the first movie.
I like
Hey,
the first
movie kicked ass, dude. Casey Jones is the man.
Well, here's the
Don't fuck
thing.
around.
There's the very first movie, which was try to take a realistic take on the turtles.
Movie holds up, dude.
The second one being Secret of the Ooze, I thought was a little more comedic. I liked it. The third one was awful.
Awful.
Okay,
But
hold
the
on.
second one was funny.
Hold
The first
on.
one-
I'm throwing a challenge out right now to you guys.
But the only thing that was great about those was the best thing about it was they were American teenagers.
Exactly.
No, hold on. Pick it.
Pick what?
Pick it.
Pick what?
If you guys are defending it right here, right now, I say pick it.
Well, it's Ryan's turn next week.
I know what he's picking for next week. I'm just saying, you guys, one of you two,
Yeah.
Okay.
bite the bullet
And the first one all day.
and pick the first one. I'm not saying the third one. I'm not saying the second one. Pick the first one.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, are you sticking?
We'll see
sticking?
what the public thinks. If they want us to do the first one, if they think that they want to hear me and Charlie defend this, I'm down anytime.
You know what? I'm throwing in my 2 cents. I'll do it. If you don't do it this week, I'll do it next week. Or next week, I'll do it the week after.
I know what Ryan's doing this coming week, and I kind of wanted to do it.
Okay, so
But I'm saying you guys are defending it right now,
fine.
so I say pick it.
I'm down. I love that
I
movie.
haven't seen it since it came out.
I've seen it multiple times since it came
Okay,
out.
well, that might be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, because I have not seen it since it first came out. I mean, how old was I? Can you pull it up? What was that like? I was like 8, 9.
1990, 90, or 80 or 80. Or
I think it was like
1989 or
88,
1990.
89.
See, the question was, were you sober when you saw it? It was made in 1990
All right, so
with
90.
Judith Hogue and Elise Cotillas. Man, I'm sorry.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was 9.
Yeah.
So I have not seen it since it came out.
Okay.
So
I'm down with that. So we're gonna
All
have to
right.
pick it. And yeah, so
fine. You guys pulled it out. I had to throw the challenge down.
we need a Real Flix Review challenge coin. Just go whack.
Yeah, I'm down.
So next week is Ryan's pick. Sorry, Ryan. What are you doing?
Okay, well, I'm still going to do the one that we were talking about last time. I'm picking True Grit, but here's the thing about this. I want to do kind of a comparison because I know probably most people have probably seen the remake, the one that came out recently with done by the Coen Brothers. But the original with John Wayne,
Great.
I kind of want to do like a nice little comparison since we had to watch James's 4-hour fucking miniseries.
3 hours. Shut up.
homework assignment. You know what I mean? Because you've probably seen the remake. Go back and watch the original, and basically see why they decided, this is a story that needs to be told again.
And I challenge you fans out there, watch the original first.
Yeah, sure. If you haven't seen True Grit, the remake, please watch the original first and then watch the remake. And
the reason for that is I think I stand by this statement is usually the original movie is more well done than the remake.
I think that's 99% true.
I think it is 99% true, but a lot of people don't believe that because they've seen the original and then they judge they've seen the remake and then they judge the original by the remake standards.
No, yeah.
So I suggest anybody out there, if you haven't seen some of these other ones, and I've got a list of remade movies that a lot of you probably people out there don't know that there was an original of. In my list of movies that I want to actually do, and I want to do the original versus the remake. So I'm glad that Ryan's
the very first versus showdown, True Grit versus True Grit.
Okay, so we're doing True Grit with the Duke, and then True Grit with the dude.
Right, with the dude. There you go. If you would have got that out, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I'm digging that hole deeper and deeper. So, ladies and gentlemen, this week our mini-series, Neverland, I gave it a 3 out of 5. James gave it a 3 out of 5, and Ryan gave it a 3 out of 5. That's the rare tie for Real Flix Reviews. Next week, we're doing both versions of True Grit. That's True Grit, if I can pronounce it correctly.
With the dude and the Duke.
Yep. And we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Rob Charney, Old Guy Tech TV, and I'm here to talk to you today about Windfall. Windfall is your local paper for classified ads, for what's happening in El Dorado County, for just about anything that has to do with El Dorado County. And they've got some great specials going on right now. As a matter of fact, they have a business special that is stated so that it's a 12-week business text ad for only $60. You can't hardly buy anything for $60, let alone a 12-week ad. Now, of course, you can always add to that or shorten it, whatever you think you want to do. They'll work with you 100%. They'll put the artwork together for you. They'll put the layout together for you. All you need to do is get a hold of them, and they'll take care of all the work for you. And trust me, it works. And we've been with the Windfall for a long time, and it's a great relationship between Old Guy Tech TV and News 44 TV and the Windfall. And we want to make sure that you get to take the same kind of advantage. The paper's incredible. I really highly suggest that you go ahead and you pick up a copy of just about anywhere. They're everywhere, any restaurant or in front of the drugstores and many other stores. You'll find the Windfall there, and it's a great deal. And let me tell you a little bit about Rob and Tina. They've worked very hard to make this newspaper something that they're very proud of. They've done it through the School of Hard Knocks. They're incredible people. They work really hard for you. They want to share their experiences for you. And I can't think of a better two people to really take advantage of this and make sure that you get your ad into their paper, because we sure like it. And I know a lot of others out there who like it as well. And one of the things is they decided that they wanted to move to a larger facility. They were cramped. If you ever saw their old office, there's barely any room for people to move. So they had an opportunity to move to a new location, still in Diamond Springs, and they have a open house. And that open house is September 26th, starting at 5 p.m. over here in Diamond Springs. And you know what? If you can come on by and just say hello, that would be great. Take advantage of some of the food and the music and the cars and some of the other stuff that's out there, and really enjoy yourself and have a great time. So I'm looking forward to it. Old Guy Tech TV will be there. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you. If you've got a business or you have a message you want to get out, you come and see us. We'll make sure that gets done. So don't forget, shop the Windfall. Everybody needs a windfall.